Welcome to the Whiskey After Work podcast. This is where booze meets business. I'm Doug Shaw, owner of Peach State Business Brokers and Advisors.
And I'm Melissa Hergert, owner of Brain Train Centers.
We are serial entrepreneurs that love to learn from other successful professionals and love to drink whiskey. Hello. Oh, shit. Where's Melissa?
This is Melissa.
Hello, Justin Hadley.
How's it going?
All right. Melissa's going to be out for the next couple episodes, and Justin, who we did a podcast with not too long ago. Well, it's been forever ago now, but he's going to fill in for a couple. So this will be way more fun. I guarantee he knows what the name of the college is in Athens, Georgia. I want to,
okay.
Yeah, UG.
You're talking about.
I feel like I got to prove it.
I want to welcome you to the Whiskey After Work podcast, coming to you recorded live from the Two Wolves studio. Everybody take a look up. They're back.
They're so familiar.
I am so excited to have those. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the return of the wolves because I've got two wolves inside of me, and one is dumb, and the other one is also dumb.
It's nice to have that visually represented on the wall.
It is. I love it. I could not wait to get those back.
I feel like those are better looking wolves than the ones that you have inside you.
Y'all texted me a few times for those wolves.
Yes, I did. So today's episode is brought to you by Brain Train Centers, Keystone Realty, Peach State Business Brokers and Advisors, and one, Justin Hadley, and whatever the hell he's doing these days, photography. So we've got a guest with us today from a company that I think to our listeners that won't be too strange and too foreign, and that is Kelli Burgdorf with, I'm sorry, is it Burgdorf?
Burgdorf, technically,
Yes.
yeah.
Technically. It either is or it isn't.
Well, everyone mispronounces it. Even my own kids mispronounce their own last name.
Kelli,
The children, they have
Kelli
excuse.
Burgdorf, who is the weight loss director or director of weight loss or something. She just runs the shit out of that weight loss department at Low T Nation. And so welcome, Kelli. Very happy to have you. You are looking good these days.
Oh, thank you. Well, I practice what I preach, 100%. So everything that I try to tell people to help them with successful weight loss, I do it every day. So, and I've been able to get back into the gym since my kids are finally in the same school at the same time. And I can just send them off to school and go straight to the gym. So I'm able to go, 4 or 5 days a week. And it's been the most wonderful thing ever.
Well, good.
Yeah.
You've, I've met you, I don't know, it's probably been close to 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's probably closer to 4 because I've been with Low T for about 2.5 years now.
Yeah, because you were my favorite barista.
I was working at Perks. Yes.
Marietta Perks. And you were my favorite barista. And the transformation even from then to now has been pretty amazing. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So I was going to read off some of the stuff you sent me, but I think I just want you to kind of talk about who you are, where you're from, a little bit about your background, and then we'll dive into the good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you want me to start? From the beginning? I born and raised here in Kennesaw, Georgia. I think I was actually born at Kennestone Hospital. So I've been here my whole life, graduated from Kennesaw Mountain High School. I'm 27. I have 2 children, a boy who's 7 and a little girl who's 6. I have been to multiple different colleges. I started at Florida State University, studying psychology, and got married to my then husband at the time, who was in the military stationed down at Fort Benning. So I transferred to Columbus State. And then when I got pregnant and had my kids, when I had my son, I transferred to University of Alabama online because I switched my major to business, and their online business program was ranked very high. And it would allow me to do school while I mothered. And then I ended up back here in Kennesaw. My ex exited the military. It made more sense to come be with family, especially with my kids. So we came back up here. This is where my mom and my sisters are. And I continued doing the student school thing, being with my kids until my divorce started. And once that process was rolling, I knew that I had to bring in some extra income. I was living with my mom at the time with my 2 kids. I think they were like 2 and 3. They're pretty young. So I started working at the coffee shop that I frequented to do my homework, and worked the mornings that my kids were in preschool at the coffee shop and over the weekend. And yeah, that's where I met Doug and Melissa. And that's also where I met Brandon, who is my current employer. I really liked working there. A lot of working professionals would go to that coffee shop. So it's how I networked. I'd talk to everyone about what do they do and how'd they get there. I thought I wanted to go into business. So I was talking to everyone about their business. Did the same thing with Brandon, found out he was in health and wellness. And we tell the story a little bit differently, but basically I asked him if I could shadow his company. I was trying to make my own networking, like internship opportunities, since I was doing school online and I had the 2 kids. And he said, sure. And I showed up one day, and then I kind of just kept showing up every, couple days, shadowed, watched, learned about what everyone did, learned about hormones. And Brandon and I would talk a lot about weight loss and the physiology of the body, how that process works. And one day he called and said, hey, do you want a job? And I said, of course I do. Of course, the way that he tells it is that I showed up and I just wouldn't leave, and it became an insurance liability. So he had to hire me. But yeah, that is a little bit kind of sums up the transition of what my life has been like over the last 10 years. And here we are.
So what are you doing for him?
So I run our weight loss program and all of our wellness services. Basically, my goal is to help people to lose weight. We've shifted to using medical weight loss as a tool for that. But ideally, what I really want to do with all of my weight loss clients is not only help them lose the weight, but teach them the sustainable lifestyle of weight loss. And the reason that that's so important to me is because I've gone through it. That was one of the other transitions that I've had in my life over the last 5 years. Is I used to be really overweight, and not just like overweight, but an unhealthy, overweight. My fat content on my body was very high. And I decided, I needed to make that change, and did. And it was a lot of learning curve, and I can certainly get into those details of that process. But it was important to me. Prior to meeting Brandon, it was a big part of my life, fitness and nutrition, something I really dove into. And then after going and working with Low T, I've learned so much more about the actual science and physiology of the process of weight loss and body composition. And it's so entertaining, interesting to me. Learn more about nutrition, things like that. Lost more weight, and now I am officially down about 70 pounds.
That's amazing.
And I've gained a lot of muscle mass and
putting the weight back on, kind of, huh?
I mean, ideally, in a good way. Absolutely. Yeah. So like I said at the beginning, I practice what I preach, and I think that everyone else deserves to have that same experience with weight loss. So many people can lose weight, but they can't keep it off, and it comes down to lifestyle and habits and choices.
That's got to go a long way with your clients too. The people coming to you for weight loss, and you're like, well, I've done it, and this is how I've done it, and this is how I can help you do it. You're not just, somebody who's always been a gym rat who just be like, well, I'm ripped, and let me help you get ripped. You have a parallel story to theirs, so you can help be a little bit encouraging. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. That's definitely something. It's taken me a long time to get comfortable talking about my own weight loss experience. Brandon, for like the first year that I worked there, was like, you need to talk about it. You need to talk about it. You need to talk about it. And I finally am. And now it does. It's relatable. And I hope that it helps my clients take me more seriously.
There's so many different ways now to lose weight. Not all of them are healthy. Some are healthy. Some are more healthy than others. And you've done yours kind of the hard way. And it takes a lot, but I think too, as it becomes such a change in lifestyle and a change in the way you eat and the way you think. I mean, you turned into a rabbit several years ago, right?
This is true. That was part of my weight loss transition. Became a vegetarian. And, I got to be honest, it has nothing to do with the fact that, like, it's nothing to do with health related. It's not necessarily a health related choice that I became a vegetarian. I do think that there are a lot of benefits to a plant-based diet or a heavy, plant diet. But really, I just didn't like the taste of meat. And when I first tried to lose weight, I was told I had to eat such high protein in a day. And I was eating all of this meat with the meals. And I just couldn't do it.
Well, yeah. And you said it's not even a thing where you were being humane or anything like that. You just didn't like the taste of it.
No, I just did not like the taste of meat. And once I made that decision, I realized retrospectively that my whole life, I've never liked meat. I never liked anything my mom made. When I would eat meat, I mean, it would be like tacos and pepperoni pizza.
You used to hunt, didn't you?
I did. My senior year of high school, we had a senior project for the year. Where we had to just teach ourselves some sort of skill. I was like, I thought I was a country girl back then. So I decided I was going to teach myself how to shoot guns and how to hunt deer. I went through the whole process of learning to shoot. I bought a 308 rifle, and then I went with a friend who taught me how to track deer. We would go into deer stands and hunt, and we got one. And he taught me how to process the meat and everything. So I did that for a short while. Now I'm a vegetarian.
Well, I am not. I was in a stand yesterday.
Oh, I don't think I could do it now.
Oh, I love it.
I feel like if you're going to eat meat, that's kind of the way to do it, though. I mean, there's a lot of negatives to the meat industry, especially in America.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. But if you're gonna,
I love
know where your food's coming from and know that it's as free range as you're gonna get.
Yeah, if you want to talk about organic, if there's really such a word, I mean, it's kind of a made up bullshit word, but there couldn't be anything more organic than going and hunting down your food in the woods and.
Absolutely. And I think that a lot of people who do go like deer hunting, I mean, they're using all of the meat.
Oh, yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. So it's not like it's wasteful. And honestly, we live down here in Georgia, so it's, the deer population gets pretty out of control. So it's kind of like an ecosystem. Yep.
So, what's your favorite vegetable?
My favorite vegetable? Oh, Brussels sprouts. 100%.
I'm down. You got to get all fancy with them, though?
No, honestly, in the last year, I've been so busy. My meals are so stupid simple. Normally, and I want to make my meals so that me and my children can eat together, but they eat meat, right? I cook them meat with every meal. I don't want to eat meat. So our meals are usually something like rice and either broccoli or Brussels sprouts, and I just steam it. Keep it easy. My kids don't like flavor. They barely like salt. And I'll give them their meat, and I'll take my meat substitute. And honestly, I usually just throw like some sriracha or hot sauce or some sort of seasoning on top of it and eat it all in a bowl.
Yeah, I was a kid who didn't like any flavor. Everything was like no sauce on my pasta. And I'm Italian, which is like sacrilege. So, and like my salad dressings was just lettuce and ranch dressing. Yeah. So they'll come around to it. But also, I think that's good too, because you're teaching them skills. It's like, it's really not hard to feed yourself well. They can carry that skill as they get older.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like, yes, you could argue that you want to open the palate, but at the same time, I do think that there are possibly benefits to them eating fresh, like not so like heavily flavored food, in that, when we go out to restaurants and all of the food is prepared and it's so heavily salted and oiled and things like this, a lot of people can't just go home and eat plainly prepared veggies because they think it tastes terrible. It's like I saw this, I think it was like a meme on the internet that was just talking about how, due to all of the processed foods and fast foods and restaurant foods that we eat, eating clean whole foods is considered dieting. So hopefully they won't have a hard time with that.
So I want to talk about, and when Brandon was on, and he did the very first episode. Well, the first guest was Brandon, and he talked about the Wegovy or Ozempic or semaglutide or whatever it is, and since then, that's been a year and a half ago. Since then, it's even gotten more prevalent, and I mean, I know as many people on that shot as I don't. And, tell us a little bit about that you're working with, and then some of the other stuff you're working with too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did shift to using medical weight loss.
But you have not used this, correct?
I've never used it. I've never been on it. I'm not allowed to go on it because I don't have any weight to lose. So
yeah, you're kind of a skinny bitch these days.
So I've never tried it myself. But after working with it for so long, I have grown to appreciate what it can offer to people as far as weight loss goes, especially when used correctly. I say this all the time: semaglutide, Wegovy, Ozempic, whatever. It's just like any other diet. If you approach it correctly with lifestyle changes, and learning and that habit adaptation, you can be successful with it. The medication itself, the reason it is so helpful for people with weight loss, is that it slows down food digestion and helps you to feel fuller faster and for longer periods of time, which helps with portion control and appetite. And then it also shoots a direct signal up to the brain that quiets that food noise, and it makes it so much easier for people not to eat impulsively or fall into cravings or overeat. I know that personally, I struggle with that. Like when I go out to eat, if something tastes good, I'm going to eat well past my satiety cues.
Yeah, I have a problem with French fries. Like any amount of fries, there will be gone.
Right. You're just like, I'm just going to...
I don't even like them. Just
it just tastes so good.
We went to, they opened a new Korean barbecue hot pot restaurant out in where I live, and we went the other night, and it's $35 a head. And everybody pays the same price, and it's as much as you want to eat. And I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money for what this is. And I had to make sure I got my $35 worth. And I walked out of there going, why did I just do that? I felt like hell.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling to eat past you're feeling full. You always feel terrible afterwards. But
so as part of your program with this is about changing the changing the lifestyle, changing the kind of the routine.
Yes, 100%. I think that's something that differentiates us from a lot of other.
Sure, there's a lot of people out there just handing these shots out.
100%. There are so many things that we do differently. First, I do try as hard as I can to put the lifestyle change into the program. We've broken it down into very simple steps for developing healthy habits. We start, right at the nutrition and portion control and things like that with just asking people to do a little bit of simple meal prep. And I mean, I don't care if that's, you want to go all gourmet chef meals, or you simply want to stock your fridge with like Greek yogurt and Lunchables. I don't care. It's just that shift in mindset. It's taking you away from the restaurants and the fast food. And just you're starting to develop these healthier habits, and that will evolve. So that's kind of how we've broken down our program, is step by step. I provide as much information and resources and tips and tricks as I possibly can that are rooted both in scientific research as well as my personal experience. So I try really hard. I'm always willing to talk to people. And as far as something else that we do that I think is different from a lot of other people that prescribe this medication is I want people to eat while they're on this medication. So many practitioners will hand this stuff out and take people all the way up the titration, all the way up to these high doses, and people just aren't eating because their appetite is so suppressed. And that does so much damage to metabolism and hormones. Yes, you'll lose weight, but you're going to lose fat, muscle, everything. Your metabolism's going to be suppressed. You'll regain the weight. I mean, there's no way that you won't.
Well, I got to think that when you're taking these shots and you don't want to eat as much, that what you do eat becomes way more important.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. That we do want to get people to eat more whole foods, right? So I tell people, aim for 80% perfection with your meals. Follow the whole plate method, which is roughly half your plate's protein, a quarter of it's veggies, and a quarter of it's your carb and your fat. So 80% whole foods in your diet. You got to leave a little bit of room for the good stuff. If you try to aim for perfection, you'll fail. And eventually it just leans into learning that moderation and being able to eat the cake when you want to eat the cake, but most of your diet's relatively clean.
Well, I know several people that are doing the program with you, and I'm kind of curious to just hear their input as they move along, because I know they're experiencing some pretty good results. So you had another program you were working on too last time you talked to me about it.
Oh, yes. We have started working with another, what do you want to call it? It's a supplement that can be really beneficial for weight loss. I actually like it a lot. It's something that I have been trying over the last couple months, so I can actually speak to it. It's a natural supplement. Basically what it is, it's a yerba mate tea extract. And yerba mate is rich in a chemical called chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid stimulates the GLP-1, which is exactly what these medical weight loss drugs do, which helps with causing the appetite control, suppression, and it also sends that signal to the brain for the food noise. So you get the benefits of medical weight loss. It's not going to be as strong as the higher doses, of course, but you can still get those benefits. It's natural, and because it does come from a plant, it's got other health benefits that you don't get from medical weight loss. It's at a better price point. So this is something that we are really going to offer to people that maybe their weight loss goals aren't as high, or they can't tolerate the semaglutide because of certain side effects. It's great for maintenance after getting off the medication. And so much.
That's big, because I think that's going to be as more and more people are using this, I think that's going to be the biggest thing is, okay, I've lost this weight. I'm not quite as committed as some others are to the exercise and to the eating and that. And now what? Because you can't at some point you've lost enough weight, you can't keep taking the shot. It doesn't make sense to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's probably long-term not good to keep taking the shot. So, I think that stuff like this is going to be, it might become its own huge industry.
And you were saying earlier that you were using it kind of as a coffee replacement too, right? So it seems like it's something that can kind of work into your everyday routine.
Yes, that's the main reason that I enjoy drinking it personally. The chlorogenic acid is the part of coffee and teas that gives you that cognitive mood boost, so you feel more alert and focused, versus caffeine that gives you like the physical stimulation, but you don't experience the caffeine crash, which is awesome, because I, for a long time, was that person drinking 700 milligrams of caffeine
Just
a
to
day
keep
on average.
chasing the dragons.
Chasing it, getting through my day and my life. I don't drink pre-workout. I drink it before I go to the gym. It is proven to increase resistance training by 13%, which I feel like I can attest to, because I actually PR'd on my barbell squats the other day, and I've been stuck for like 2 years.
Barbell squats. What do you barbell squat?
Well, I don't barbell squat.
I love the weight training. It's my thing.
Kristen, what kind of squats did you say you do? Diddly? So that's cool stuff, man. So you enjoy drinking that, huh?
I really do.
You know what I enjoy drinking?
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
Oh, me too. I've been on a whiskey kick for the last couple months.
Oh, yeah. That's a good segue, isn't it?
It is.
You seem like you've done this before.
Yes, I have. Maybe a couple of times. What'd you bring?
What did I bring? I brought a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey called First Call, double oak. I've never tried it, honestly, but the reason that I picked it is because it was ranked high. It had like 95 points.
That's good.
And it said that the flavor profile is supposed to be like vanilla and caramel, and then you get the oak barrel. And I like vanilla and caramel, so
Wow.
why not?
We'll just hand these glasses on over there and let you pour a little bit,
Okay.
and we'll see if they lied to you or not.
We'll see.
You gonna try it?
Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't, but it's double oaked, so that gets me excited. It's got a nice color to it.
See if I can do this without
I want to look at
spilling
the
it.
bottle here in a minute. Hey, Kristen, I think we're going to get a desk set up for you so you can keep a microphone over there and kind of.
Be a producer?
Yeah.
You don't want to stick to your camping chair that you've got tucked in?
Yeah, we're not quite done with the Two
Just
Wolves studio yet. So,
I mean, I'm not turning my nose up at a camping chair. Love myself a camping chair.
Cup holder. And
Yeah. These essentials.
broken in.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. I want to get into camping.
yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a minute, too. Because this guy,
Yes.
he's camped a couple of times.
I know, we got some stuff we can bond over.
You know what else? I graduated from Columbus State University.
Did you
I
really?
did. Yeah. 2008.
I actually liked it down. I graduated high school in 2014.
Nice.
I actually really liked it down there. The
Yeah.
campus was cozy.
It's a lot different now than it was. They built up that whole kind of downtown Riverwalk section when I was going there. It
Yeah.
was like everyone there wanted to fight all the time, and it was a little run down, but
There's a lot of vanilla in there. Does it have an age statement on that?
it smells great.
Oh, now I taste the vanilla. I got it like at the back end. I don't like that. I don't think I see.
If I had to
anything.
guess on that, I'd say 4, maybe 5 years. It's a little bit young.
It's really dark though.
It's not real complex, but it's not bad.
I think it's great.
Do you want me to read off the back?
Yeah, read it.
Okay. It says, First Call Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey was crafted in homage to America's original sport, thoroughbred racing, and Kentucky's iconic role in its development as far back as the early 18th century. Before the introduction of the thoroughbreds to North America, the Bugler-inspired spectators and
Bugler?
Bugler? Oh, I'm so sorry. How embarrassing. Inspired spectators and racers with the first call, or the call to the post, signaling that it's off to the races.
Have you been to the races before?
No, I haven't.
When those horses hear the call to the race, they hear the bugle, they go fucking nuts. They are ready. They know what it means. It's the races are fun, man. I mean, some people don't like them. They think they're cruel and everything else, but oh my God, they're so much fun.
I bet. I could believe that.
Yeah, lots of fun.
I like
Wearing the big hats and the
Gambling, drinking mint juleps.
Oh, jeez. I went to a race party earlier this year. That was interesting.
You went to a derby party?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was like, what do I wear to this? I'm not buying a new outfit.
Did you wear a fascinator? Put a hat on?
I didn't have anything like that. I just wore a floral romper.
I'm sure everybody appreciated it.
You know.
So, no, the races are a blast. They're so much fun. My wife actually really likes them. She likes gambling, evidently. I did not know that. She didn't know that.
I think that's usually how it goes. I think you don't really realize how much you like gambling until you gamble, and then
you find the right kind of gambling for you.
Yeah, that's how I was in my first trip to Vegas. I was like, I like this too much. I can't. This is bad.
And see, I'm the exact opposite. I don't like gambling in a casino, but I like the sports book is fun. But man, the horses, betting the ponies is fun.
No, it's too stressful.
It's the thrill. You get addicted to the adrenaline.
Yeah, it's like next time I'll do better. I'll stop next time.
Yeah.
Well, no, what happens is,
when you win,
you nail a couple of them, and
right.
then it's like crazy. So we took some friends. We do the night races up at Churchill Downs every once in a while, and took some friends up, and they'd never been to the races before. And after like 3 races, my friend's wife she started picking stuff like based on her kids. Like this one had a name that was, had one of the names, and this name was her kid's name. And this one had a name that had something to do with another kid. And so she starts picking these horses based on the kids. Well, 3 races in, she's won like $3,500. And she comes walking in. We had a suite, and when we do that, we rent a suite, and we do like 10 couples, and food and booze is included, and it's pretty fun.
It sounds like.
And she comes walking in, and she's waving, like fanning herself with the money. She is going bananas. She's like been drinking lots of mint juleps, and she's fanning herself. And so 11 races that night, and we're in the Uber on the way back to the hotel, and I'm like, we're talking about how much we won, how much we lost. I think that night I was down like $30. So pretty good night. Had a good time. And I turned around and said, how much you end up winning? She goes, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, geez.
She ended up like $1,000 in the hole after she was up like 3,500.
I feel like, you get up high and you're just like, you get down, you're like, I'm going to get high again.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop next time. But you don't. I didn't. I'm talking about myself.
Oh my
shit.
goodness.
Yeah, it's a good time. So let's real quick, let's talk a little bit more about this bourbon. I taste the vanilla in it. Let me see that bottle if you would.
Yeah. There you go.
Let's see what it says.
I like it.
I do. I think
It's a beautiful
pretty good.
bottle.
Yeah, it's a nice bottle, double oak. It is 90 proof. Yeah.
What makes it a double oak?
Generally, that means that they've aged it in the charred oak cask, and then they put it into another cask of some sort. So it technically, I think any time you finish it in a different barrel, it could be considered double oaked.
This one does. It's a little smoky.
No, it's good.
I can taste that a little bit.
A call to the post. There is no age statement on it, which don't know. It's if I had to guess, I'd say 4 or 5 years. Like not super super young, but not ultra aged either. It's good. How much was this bottle?
Oh, it was about $40.
Reasonable these days.
Yeah.
For a decent bourbon.
Well, that's That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to buy a bottle of that. That's pretty good. First Call, Double Oak, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
That's a nice cold day whiskey.
Yeah. It doesn't have a lot of bite on the back end either. Of course, it's, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's only 90 proof. That is not considered to be a high proofer anymore. That is,
Yeah, I have to pay attention to that. I'm not going to lie. There was a couple that I looked at that were, 120 or so. And I said to myself, I can't do that. Ever since I went vegetarian and lost all this weight, I am the biggest lightweight in the room. 2 drinks and I'm pretty buzzed.
So something we did last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We had a bring your own bottle whiskey after work whiskey tasting. I think both of you guys were there.
Yep.
We're going to be doing these. We found a home, the venue on Main in Kennesaw, Georgia. And we're going to schedule these probably for every other month.
Nice.
Sometimes they'll be BYOB. Sometimes they'll be a tasting sponsored by, a distiller or a distributor or something like that. But we had pretty good. We had a dozen or so bottles. Not a huge turnout. We decided a week and a half before to do it. I think we had 18 people there. But did you guys have anything you particularly liked while we were there?
I do, but I don't remember.
Because the winning whiskey was actually a double malt whiskey from Atlanta.
That was my favorite. I voted for that one.
Duality. That bottle,
that
bottle found its way back to my house.
Yeah. Well, how lucky for you.
And that bottle is almost gone.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know that it was necessarily my favorite tasting whiskey of the night, but it was just so interesting that I had to vote for it.
Yeah, it was not a bourbon. It was more in a Scotch style, but it's a double malt, which that means that half the grain in it was a malted barley, traditional peated malted barley, and the other half the grain was a rye that was roasted with cherry wood. So it was like a barbecue whiskey. It was really interesting.
Really good.
Now, what did you have? Do you have anything you really liked there?
I can't remember.
Yeah, me neither.
I gotta be honest. I can't remember. And at some point, my palate is not refined enough.
Yeah, mine neither.
That I can tell all of these differences or really taste the finer flavors. So just somewhere between all of the samples, and I think I had a drink before we started, and just so many, I don't remember. But I will say that the one that I brought and then brought back home, it was Green River.
That was good. That was my favorite bourbon of the night, I think.
That bottle's almost gone. I enjoyed it. It's smooth, and I can't remember the story behind it, but I don't know. It had a good story.
Yeah, it was good. It was another one I'd never heard of. That was also...
Wasn't Green River like the Green River Killer or something? Wasn't there a murder?
I don't know. I think that's a different podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
True crime.
Yeah.
True crime podcast.
Yeah.
True crime whiskey.
Well, I think I bumped into you somewhere else that night after the tasting.
Oh, yes. Yes, we continued our rendezvous over at the Cigar Cellar, where I also had never been.
I love that place.
Yeah, I've never been there.
As if anybody that listens to this doesn't know this by now, but I love that place. So much fun.
I was pleasantly surprised. I'd never been in there. And I've never been to a cigar bar, period. But it was really, really nice. And it was fun. It was just...
Were you guys drinking the old fashions, or what were you drinking?
No, I think that I just had a regular old vodka soda, because that is my go-to.
Yeah, I'm more of a tequila soda guy.
Yeah, I like a tequila soda and a gin and soda, especially in the summer.
Yeah, or anything. No,
I don't know.
soda.
I went through a tequila phase. I was drinking tequila and water and ice.
Yep.
I got this one tequila that was cucumber jalapeno infused. It was fantastic.
Yeah, was it 3 Seeds or something like that?
Maybe.
I've had it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's got some jalapeno in it too.
Yes.
It'll burn your belly later.
Which is fantastic. I love the spicy tequilas.
So you've been hiking.
I have. It is like my newest legit hobby. It's something that I've really come to enjoy, and I think I will always do.
And it totally complements that your lifestyle change too.
And I think that that's part of it. Is it's something I don't know if I ever would have considered it before when I was overweight, honestly. But now it's like, it's something that I can do. I can hike for 10, 15 miles in one day, and I can hike up 2,500 feet in elevation without dying. It's fantastic.
So what got you started? Where was the first one you went on?
So the first time that I went like really hiking, my friends actually had a wedding, and it was a destination wedding in Glacier National Park up in Montana.
I have not been yet.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Had a friend
I
just
really
moved
wanna go to
20
Montana.
minutes from there. And he's like, come on.
Oh my goodness. That's my goal, is to live somewhere over there. But yeah, what a first, like, first immersion experience. So I've said since I was going out there, I might as well stay a couple of extra days, right? Like really take it all in. And one day I drove the Going to the Sun Road, I believe it's called, which goes through the whole park. It goes in and out the park. So I did that, and then I went back and did a couple of like the really popular hikes, easy hikes. It was also my very first completely solo trip after everyone left from the wedding. And it was great. And after that, I just caught the bug, like fire. I mean, mountains out west are like, they don't compare to what we have here in Georgia.
My wife, when I told her, I said, I could move to Idaho, Montana. She's like, you hate winter. I said, no. Winter, when all you're looking at is slush and salty roads and just mud and gray and blah, is different than when you're looking at the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's also different here because we're not properly prepared for winter. And if you're properly dressed for winter, it doesn't feel like winter.
And it's a very dry winter out there too.
Yeah, I heard someone who came from like Alaska or something like that, somewhere really cold. And they were saying that when they moved down here to Georgia, she had felt that this winter was so much worse because the air is wet. Mm-hmm. So when you get hit with that cold air, I mean, it's like icicles in your face. And I was just like, yes, it is. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You did Ecuador too, didn't you?
I did, and that was a completely different experience.
Did you go to Galapagos while you were there, or did you miss that part of the trip?
No, I missed that part of the trip. But we were in a very small little village. I mean, there's nothing there. Lots of locals. Definitely in the culture. And that particular town that we stayed in, I guess it had 4 dormant volcanoes. So the lodge that we stayed at was called 4 Volcanoes, and we hiked up the side of one of them a couple miles up. That is the most challenging hike I've done because there was no break in elevation. I mean, it was a 3,000 foot elevation gain, and we were walking straight up the entire time. We got to a point where we had to stop every like 3 to 5 minutes and let ourselves acclimate to the thinned out oxygen. It was tough, but it was amazing.
Yeah, because you're already starting at a higher elevation, so you're going 3,000 above that. It just gets even.
I know.
Thinner.
I was so surprised because we started at 9,000 feet.
Yeah.
And we ended at like 12,000 feet.
Yeah, it's pretty high. You can get that out west too, in Colorado. And
you can. I think it was just because a lot of the hikes that I'm used to, like out west and when I went up to Canada, you do a lot of like
Canada. You went to Canada?
I did. I did that in September. It's been a great travel year, I will say. But a lot of those hikes, you have the switchbacks. Mm-hmm. So you get a little bit of reprieve. The one in Ecuador, it was straight up.
It was also hot too, right? Like,
honestly, no. But I will say that the morning that we went out, it was not great. It was basically like misting the whole time, and it started to sprinkle at one point, and we thought that we were going to have to, we had gone high enough up at that point that there were no huts, houses, nothing. and we were afraid that we were going to have to try and find some sort of rock or big branches to hide under. We thought it was going to pour, like the sky was just going to drop out, because we'd gone higher up than anyone else on that mountain. But it was cool.
So Justin, awesome. have you ever like, I keep an iPad next to the bed, I read, watch movies, whatever. Sometimes I'll not be able to sleep, and I'll get up and I'll get on Amazon and I'll buy shit and I forgot I bought it. It shows up the front door. Or better yet, you ever been on Amazon when you were drunk and bought something and it just shows up at the front door?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten drunk?
Yeah.
And bought airline tickets? Non-refundable?
Really close.
How'd you end up in Canada, Kelly?
I find that this is how a lot of my trips happen. I'd been thinking about it. You know, Banff was on my bucket list, because I had to see the other side of Glacier. And I got drunk on the 4th of July and was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. It's time. And so I went and bought the non-refundable plane ticket. And the next day I was like, well, damn. Now I got to find somewhere to stay. I got to figure out how this goes. And I was there for a week, and I did that completely solo.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I stayed in a hostel, took public transportation everywhere.
What was that like?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
honestly,
cool.
Everyone asked me about the hostel. How was that? But I don't know. You know, it was Canada. They have a reputation for being nice. I was very comfortable. There were a lot of families and old people staying at that hostel. A lot of Europeans.
Did you eat some French fries and gravy while you were there? A little poutine?
No, because like it was vegetarian friendly a little bit, but my choices were still very limited. And part of the reason I wanted to stay at the hostel too, other than it being like 1/8 of the price of anywhere else, was that they had the full kitchen. So I went and bought all my food and I made everything. But yeah, and then it was cool. Took the public transport and I spent like 4 days hiking. I hiked about 50 miles.
But you didn't do any camping
that weekend. No, I want to get into camping.
That's the next evolution of your journey.
It is
getting into backpacking.
But I can't do it by myself at first.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it by myself. I mean, I was already like freaked out enough on some of the trails by myself, hugging my bear spray.
Yeah. You could start out at there's a lot of great state parks in Georgia, and you can stay at a campsite, and they have a lot of backcountry, like Vogel State Park has a really great campsite. You're like right next to a lot of people, and then you can hit the trails and take it up into the mountains. You can go up to all the way up to the Blood Mountain Shelter, which is along the AT.
Okay.
And you can get way out there. But then you have like a nice kind of safe place to come back to. And I think that's how I started getting into backpacking. Is I did a lot of camping at campsites at state parks and stuff like that. And then I was just like, there are too many people here. I need to be further away from people. But you get comfortable with your gear. You get comfortable with like setting up your campsite and just the noises that happen when the sun goes down that are really freaky at first. And then, I mean, they continue to be freaky. You just learn to deal with it. But I don't know. That's my recommendation. Not that you're asking for it, but it will open up even further of the experience of hiking and going to all of these places. So it is the next level to come at some point. I just feel like the first couple of times I need someone to be there with me. Totally. Yeah, because there's a lot of places that you can only see after going sleeping and then going farther. Like,
there
are a lot. That's my main reason of getting into backpacking is just there's just too much stuff on this earth that I just got to see it. And
the trails, of course, are going to be a whole lot less populated.
Right.
But my goal for this summer is to make my way to Austria. I've heard the hiking out there is just phenomenal.
Yeah. So why Austria? Just because you heard about the hiking?
Yeah, I've never been to Europe. And just heard the hiking's great. Honestly, there's a lot more of the U.S. that I want to see. But it is so expensive to travel within the U.S. right now. Whereas I can go to somewhere like Europe or when I went to Canada or South America, and I have the option to stay in the hostels, and there's public transportation that's so accessible. So I can make out of those trips much more cost effective than, just staying in an Airbnb for a couple of days somewhere here in the States is going to cost me like $1,500.
Right. Yeah.
Which I could pay for my entire trip.
Yeah.
With that much money.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you get to Europe, like once you get to the Europe mainland, like traveling within Europe is a lot more accessible.
It's easier. And yes. And I pay for all of my airline tickets with credit card points.
Yep.
So
that's the way to do it.
That's the goal. Go hiking in Austria.
Cool. So you haven't gotten drunk and bought that ticket yet?
Not yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
That's
cool. You should have another one of these, and then
it's like I said, this is
we
how
can
a lot
be
of my
enablers.
choices.
Yeah.
This is how I make a lot of my choices. As long as they're not going to negatively impact my children or my career, I oftentimes get drunk and make impulse decisions. That's how I ended up with a pierced eyebrow. That's how I ended up with a couple of tattoos.
Oh, Lord.
Jeez Louise.
Wow. Didn't even know she was the queen of bad decisions.
Hey.
They're only bad decisions if they end poorly.
I love all of my tattoos. And
Obviously, none of them are of people that are no longer in your life.
Nope, not at all.
That's good.
They're just...
Because I don't know how many people I've known that are like, oh, yeah, I love you.
It's bad luck, man.
Gosh, I can't imagine.
Let me get you tattooed on my face.
Oh, no.
Or the exact opposite. What was the jerk? You got my name tattooed on your ass? Way more people will see it there than in the phone book.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Lord. So, I usually try to wrap these things up by talking a little bit about any community or charity work you do.
Well, it's definitely something that is a big objective for us this year. We want to get into corporate wellness programs, and just to go spread the word about how to be healthy, how to approach health and wellness, things like that. But honestly, I don't know how to answer that question.
So nothing at this point.
Nothing right now that I'm personally involved in or that we as a business are personally involved in.
But the work you're doing is benefiting the community.
Oh, without a doubt.
Ideally.
I mean, because even if, the people whose lives you're affecting, they may not, they can tell their friends about it. And even if their friends don't become clients of yours, they can share the experience of changing their lifestyle and how that positively impacts their life. And that can spread because people get inspired by each other.
It can be a cascading effect. It's just little tweaks, little changes. If you have someone that starts a program, their family, as long as their family is supported, that can result in changes for others. And like I said, we want to get into these programs where we just simply talk, answer questions, give advice on changes that you can make, small tweaks to help people better themselves, better their life, better their health. There's so much to it. So
yeah, I can see how having a community of people to lean on can really help you be more successful in that journey.
Absolutely.
Well, if people want to get a hold of you and find out more about what you're doing, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can find us online, lowtnation.com. We have our contact information there. We're also on Instagram. I believe it's lowtnation_IG. And then I have my personal Instagram page that's Wellness on the Square because we're located here in Marietta. Those would be the big places.
Cool. Well, if you have questions about anything you heard on this episode or comments or ideas for future episodes, please reach out to us at whiskeyafterworkpodcast@gmail.com. We are going to be back to pretty regular podcast now. We finally kind of got settled in, have a schedule coming up. We should have a podcast out every week. Stay tuned. Watch the Facebook page, the Instagram, and listen to the podcast. We'll be updating with other events. We're going to have in-person events. Please share this podcast with other people. Tell other people about it. We really are going to push hard this year to grow this podcast. We're going to have some contests coming up. We're going to give away some bottles. We've done that before, but we're going to kind of reset that and give away some bottles. And we really appreciate you being on, Kelli. And it was interesting, just as I thought it was going to be. And I just watching you and your transformation. And I didn't even meet you when you were big, so to speak. But watching your transformation over the last few years has been pretty amazing. And hadn't seen you in a little while. We walked into that event 2 weeks ago, and everybody's like, "Whoa!" So thought we were going to have to chase some people away from the cigar cellar.
I'm technically on the market, so.
Great. Don't email me about that. So thanks for being on, Justin. Thanks for being a guest host.
Thanks for having me.
We will see you very shortly with another exciting guest on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. Rather than being healthy, it's a vice. But until then, cheers, and we'll see you on the next episode.